Hello, everyone. This is going to be a bit of a rare occasion for me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zack, and I'm one of the original founders of the YouTube channel, The Gamer Gods Fail. The only difference is this is set to be uh, the first video on this channel where it's specifically me talking about different video game related topics that I've recently come up with amongst myself. I suppose the first topic I can start off with is games being overpriced at GameStop. And I have no idea what the hell kind of business practice they think this is, but it's absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary. A couple games off the top of my head that I can think of most notably are games like Road Rage. GameStop wants, last I knew, $25 for, I'm pretty sure it was a pre-owned copy of it, and it is far from worth it at all. It is not worth a single fucking penny at all. Other games, and I want you to keep in mind, this is going to have partly something to do with a new Spider-Man game that recently came out, but it has nothing to do with the brand new reboot that came out, and Darian doing a review on it too. Probably the best one that I know of before that was Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I thought it was released sometime in between the years of 2008 and 2010 or something like that, but I can't 100% remember. I know I've always kind of wanted it for the longest time. I haven't played an actually good Spider-Man game in forever, but GameStop pre-owned, they want like $30 for it for a game that's, if we do the math, nearly a decade old or older. $30 for an older Spider-Man game that's considered to be the highest rated one before the reboot. I'm sorry, but I can't justify the price tag. Me personally, I probably wouldn't pay a dime more than like $10 or $15 for it if I can ever get away with it. Other experiences were, I'm pretty sure earlier this year, I bought a PlayStation 3 copy of Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. As far as price difference goes, I don't think it was like too bad of a price difference, but I'm pretty sure I remember the PlayStation 3 copy being cheaper than the Xbox 360 copy, but I could be wrong on that too. I'll correct myself if I am. I don't really care. I just know that I haven't gotten around to it yet. Another game in particular that I heard about was the first Nier. As far as price difference goes, that's a pretty fucking big and ridiculous gap. I thought I was told that the Xbox 360 copy of it was like $20, and the PlayStation 3 copy of it was 35, which is like a $15 price difference and completely unnecessary. I suppose with all those examples being said and done, my biggest point I don't know why GameStop thinks it's such a good idea to price games at arguably more than what they're worth, especially when you go to sell or trade another used game in for something different that you want, but they offer you dirt cheap money worth in cash or trade anyhow. I've experienced that a couple of times the hard way. So GameStop, as far as my message to you goes, is one of these days, if you keep this bullshit up, you're gonna die off and you're gonna go under. There is absolutely no need to overprice games like that more than what they're worth, especially if less and less people are freaking playing them. And I'm certainly not gonna justify paying your price tags for games that are too old and just simply not worth it. Another topic that I've come up with recently is Xbox 360 achievements and PlayStation trophies in general, possibly ruining your gaming experience. Now, For the most part, when you play the core game, especially if you're playing through the story and whatnot, and if you decide you want to grind more hours into the game, playing gaining collectibles and whatnot for extra gamer score. I suppose those trophies and achievements, that's one thing, but in some occasions there are some instances where you come across a handful of achievements that make you do completely insane and unnecessary bullshit that can potentially take away your freaking gaming experience. And as far as the whole gaming experience relating to that goes, is whatever happened to the days of like original Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube, where you had absolutely no achievements and trophies that you could gain or earn from an overall gameplay experience that you may have either loved or hated initially, and what are the odds going to be that trophies and achievements can take away from that gaming experience, and you're no longer going to like or want to have motivation to play the game just because the game wants you to earn an achievement or trophy by doing something completely bullshit and unnecessary. And to top it off too, what are the odds going to be about the as far as the quantity of the trophy or the achievement? What if you come to find out that like it's only 50 gamer score, or if it's only a bronze trophy, and it asks you to do something like completely stupid? Maybe if the quantity or the points of said achievement or trophy was higher, then okay, maybe you could pull it off. But other than that, is it really worth it? And the same thing goes for online achievements and trophies too. Like, when was the last time anyone really tried going for platinum or 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 gamer score, going through multiplayer just to gain this rank or do this or do that? When was the last time anybody attempted to do that instead of just casually playing the multiplayer and with your friends or your family, and possibly loving the experience even more? Like, I don't understand that. And to top it off too, once the servers go down, you're kind of fucked, aren't you? You have absolutely no way of gaining those achievements and trophies. The other thing that I don't know why is video games that are tied to online servers in comparison to buying the game. You can play the game either offline or online, doesn't matter, in comparison to buying a game and your home console or PC constantly has to be online in order to gain the core experience anyway. And plus, once the servers on those go down too, the whole game is kind of fucked and useless and worthless. There's nothing you can do with it. The one other topic that I want to bring up is pre-planned DLC. I've noticed and heard recently of a couple of games that did this, like Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, when they did and released the whole lost footage DLC, and then they released it on the PlayStation Store and whatnot, and now I guess you have the opportunity to get it on the Gold Edition for a relatively reasonable price. The other one that I heard about was the Spider-Man reboot of this year. That has some pre-planned DLC going around, and I guess the biggest point about it is if it's supposed to be like pre-planned, like before release, and it's already said and done, why not just add it to the game to begin with, and add just a few more hours to the original core experience? Like how bad would that be in comparison to releasing it like what, a month or two after the game is released, as like what, one big huge freaking microtransaction for this price tag or that price tag, or just generally more expensive than what the game is worth as far as hours and content goes. I don't understand why people have been doing that recently, but it's complete bullshit, and it's a waste of people's freaking money. I heard that the Resident Evil 7 lost footage DLC isn't too much, or as of recently, but I haven't fully decided if I'm gonna pay said price tag for however many hours I'm gonna get out of the pre-planned experience. Same thing goes with the freaking with the Spider-Man reboot. I don't know of any other games that do that, but if that's the case, then freaking stop. If you need to, delay the initial game release, and add that extra content into the game. Is it really going to be that bad of a thing if pre-planned DLC gets put into the game later on, even if it means sacrificing like the initial release the initial release schedule of your core game? I don't understand, but it's a terrible business practice, and it needs to stop. The other big topic that I wanted to bring up was vouchers for DLC should never exist. Why video game companies cheap out and do this is entirely beyond me. The most recent experience I had was, I'm sure as you know from a previous video, the Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year edition. I want to say I paid like $60 for it, brand new, only to come to find out that all the DLC was on a goddamn voucher. I ended up giving it to Darian, or letting him borrow it or something. He got the opportunity to play the DLC, or I want to say he traded a game with me or something like that for it. But as far as the DLC goes, I'm never gonna get to play it unless I play it on his PS4. So I would have had to go back out to GameStop or another retail store and spend another like $40 to $60 on another brand new copy of Dragon Age Inquisition. So I've already spent like nearly double my money on two of the same exact game for the exact same reason, or the exact same problem I should bring up. And another one that I recently found out is
Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition content is on a voucher too instead of a fucking disc! Why, Bethesda? Why did you have to tuck your tail in between your fucking legs and do the complete polar opposite of what you do with Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 in New Vegas?
The Fallout franchise, or at least the newer ones, had the Game of the Year edition content on the disc. Most notably Fallout 3, one of the best fucking games of the 7th generation. I got to experience all the core DLC on the disc. So if a friend wanted to borrow it, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But I can't do that with Fallout 4. Because it seems like you cheaped out and tucked your tail in between your freaking legs and put all the DLC on a voucher. Like what freaking BioWare did with Dragon Age Inquisition. So now if somebody else wants to play the game, they either have to buy their own brand new copy, or buy the season pass like I did. Or at least I did with Dragon Age Inquisition. And that's how I got a hold of all the content. But I would have to do the same thing with Fallout 4. I don't know why they cheaped out and did that, but it's an absolutely terrible business practice. That means less and less people are going to be able to borrow other people's copies in case they're unsure of whether or not to buy it on first impressions or initial release anyhow. But that too needs to stop. It's a complete waste of time cheaping out like that. As far as the last topic goes, and this partly has something to do with the DLC, the original Mass Effect trilogy from Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. At least from Darian and I's experience, anyway. Most of the good DLC is on the PlayStation 3 version of it, but most notably, probably three quarters of the DLC is on Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 3 that I know of didn't have any DLC on the PS3. Mass Effect 1 I don't remember. But I know the Xbox 360 was like almost a complete polar opposite of that, where it didn't have as much of the DLC, if at all, from Mass Effect 2, but it had more of the Mass Effect 3 DLC, including the From Ashes DLC, and this also brings up my final topic.
BioWare, will you do us all a favor and remaster the Mass Effect trilogy for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and put every ounce of content and DLC that was ever released for the franchise and put it on both versions? Don't just half-ass it.
Why? I don't know why you did that, but that was freaking stupid. That's really all I can think of off the top of my head. If you guys have any comments or statements you want to make about this topic, or me ranting, go ahead and feel free to do so. Anywho, I'm done ranting for right now. That just freaking pissed me off. So thank you for watching.